Thanks for watching The 9.
All right, for some, the pandemic has been so hard when it comes to quarantining, not socializing, but for others, working remotely and not being in the hustle and bustle of normalcy has been a bit of a blessing. Joining us now is Dr. Deb Courtney to talk about why introverts could now be stressing out about going back to normalcy. Doctor, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Hi there. Thanks so much for having me, Dina.
So, Dr. Deb, I first want to ask you this. It's funny that we're talking about this. I just had a conversation with friends at lunch outside. We were eating outside. So, what is an introvert and what is an extrovert? How do we know which one we are if we're not quite sure?
Yeah, that's a great question. And an introvert really is someone that re-energizes themselves through spending time alone. So that quiet time at home, maybe more of like a homebody, is more of an introvert. Whereas an extrovert energizes themselves by being out in social settings, in groups, and really kind of comes alive in that way when they're with other people.
Okay, and so that's why there was sort of the joke going around during the beginning of the pandemic is your introvert friends are probably doing okay right now, but your extroverted friends are struggling. And now we're kind of flipping that around and saying, what does it mean now that we're returning to some degree of normalcy, or eventually we will?
Absolutely. You know, as an introvert, a lot of people found comfort not having to get up and do the hustle and bustle of the commute every day and being in social settings every day. And now with re-entry, they're realizing, okay, I have to start doing this on a daily basis coming up. So it can be stressful. It can induce some anxiety. And another important point here to consider is that there is a difference between being an introvert and having social anxiety. So that's something that I would like viewers to consider as well, is learning about those differences. Right? Like, am I an introvert or do I have social anxiety?
And what is the difference there?
Well, like I said, an introvert more kind of gets their energy and refuels themselves from that alone time and that quiet time, whereas social anxiety really is an anxiety disorder that can cause a lot of panic symptoms, that can cause obsessive thinking just about the mere prospect of being in a social setting. So that is where, you know, we really want to make sure that if that's what's going on for you, that you seek out support. There's a lot of support groups out there, or to seek a therapist that specializes in social anxiety could be very helpful.
And being an introvert, you can celebrate that love of solitude, I guess, right? I mean, that's not considered problematic, but you just need to deal with when you've been at home for a year, maybe enjoying your alone time, you have to kind of readjust your thinking, right?
100%. It's not a negative thing at all. And even having social anxiety really shouldn't be viewed as a negative thing at all. I really want everyone watching this to validate whatever experiences are coming up for them right now. Having gone through this year and being home and isolated, there are things that have been comforting for many people, right? Having that time with family, the quiet time, it can be really rejuvenating on a lot of levels. And then having some anxiety about having to get back out into the world is completely normal as well. So it's really important for all of us as we're navigating this transition back into our day-to-day lives to validate our experiences, to validate whatever feelings are coming up, and to just seek out support when we need it.
Dr. Deb, you talk about setting small goals, and I just want to ask you, even for people who are extroverted, there's a real skill to interacting with humans, right? In-person human interaction, it takes some practice, and we're all out of practice at that for the most part. So what's a small goal that we can set for ourselves just to feel more comfortable in that space?
Yeah, I would say definitely make some plans with people that you feel safe and comfortable with. So even setting a small goal of, okay, I'm going to make a lunch plan with a couple of friends, and we're going to go in a safe outdoor setting where I can start to feel comfortable being in a public group again. That's a great example of a goal that when you do achieve it, celebrate that small win of, okay, I was out in the world. It felt good to be socializing again. And, you know, I feel really proud of that. Other goals are more kind of personal goals around self-care, such as, let's say, developing some breathing techniques. So maybe you say, okay, I'm going to learn a new breathing technique that I can use when I start to get anxious. And then we can practice that daily. And that could be a goal that we can achieve and be really proud of.
Yeah, that's one that we can all do. Dr. Deb, we appreciate you this morning. Thank you.
You're so welcome. It was a pleasure to be here.
Dr. Deb is a psychotherapist, author, and has a PhD in clinical social work. You can learn more about her, Dr. Deb, and her private one-on-one virtual sessions at the website drdebmcourtney.com.